He's a former Assemblyman, gubernatorial candidate, and he filed the paperwork to start the referendum. To get SB277 on the ballot and let we, the people, vote on this instead of our legislators in Sacramento.
Well, thank you, Courtney. I want to thank every one of you for coming out. It's a hot night. It's, I don't know, what's today? I've been traveling quite a bit, going around the state and meeting amazing people who are not afraid of freedom. Why are we so afraid of freedom? Why do we want the government making choices for us, especially such incredibly important choices? And I know that tonight you put together a great panel to educate, so I'm not going to add anything to the education. I'm simply going to talk about what you can do about it. And under the legislature, they brought AB 2109. That was my first heard about it, and I was deeply offended that they would stamp out religious liberty in the country founded on religious liberty.
Thank you. Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether or not that's an issue for you. It matters whether freedom is an issue and whether or not we want the government to essentially make all the choices. And so, when I heard about this bill, I was driving down the 5 freeway. I don't remember where. I think I dropped my son off up in Seattle. And I was driving down the freeway and I heard 2 talk radio show hosts who shall remain nameless. They have a big station in LA. And they said, if you have any concerns about vaccinations, you are stupid. And I thought, wow, that is a powerful argument against this bill. And so, of course, I read the bill, and the day I knew, once I saw the hearings, because I was following it, I happen to have a radio show, Tim Donnelly showed up. You might even be able to hear it over here. I don't know how far my signal goes. But here's the thing. We've been covering it, so we've been talking to people who've been going to the committees, following it on Facebook, and I have a lot of contacts up in Sacramento, including some of the sergeant at arms. And eventually I went to one of the rallies on the day of one of the biggest committee hearings. I've never seen so many people. Most rallies you get 50 to 150 people. There were 2,000. And when you get 15 or 1,800 people to actually go into the Capitol and testify, it is a logistical nightmare for the people who work there. And they told me they had never, in their 25 years of this one sergeant at arms, had never seen so many individuals show up. And my job was to interview. Many of you were there. But of course, but that's who we are. That's the whole point. And we're beautiful people, we're amazing people, and we're probably the most diverse coalition I've ever met, because I'm about as far right as you can get, and I'm working with people who are about as far left as you can get. We don't argue about this, because we're united in defense of freedom. And that's really what being an American is all about. And the government has become the greatest threat to your freedom, you got to do something about it. So, I knew Jerry Brown would sign this bill immediately. And so I prepared to do something about it, at least mentally. And then my wife got on the job and said, you're the only person that can do this because you've done it before.
Yes.
And you need to file a referendum. So somebody contacted me and said they would do all the campaign type work, and I called my former legislative director. He wrote the referendum that is now on the actual paperwork, which has to incorporate the law and it has all this legalese, but the bottom line is we filed it the next morning. And we did that because the government only gives you 90 days from the day the governor's signature hits that bill and makes it a law. You only have 90 days to undo the damage they've done. And then they make you jump through hoops. We are at the end of that process, but there's still time. Right now, we have 45 counties organized. We have thousands of people who have been getting signatures. Many of them are in this room. Many of them are perhaps exhausted from working tirelessly and sitting right here in the front row and elsewhere with the t-shirts on and at the table. Then we raised $136,000 to hire paid who are helping us finish the job, but we still need your help. So you can take one of these forms home, or you can take several, as long as you get them back to Courtney by next Friday, okay? That's the deal. You can also donate at the GoFundMe link. It's GoFundMe/SB277 Referendum. I tried to keep it simple. You can take some of these business cards that actually have the CDC schedule right on the back. We found that to be very powerful because as we were going through different population groups, one of the groups that votes most regularly are people who are more seasoned in life. But unfortunately, during their lifetime, polio was the biggest issue. And so many people will literally have a one-word objection: polio, polio, polio. And look, you can't argue with polio, right? But then we'd show them that. We'd show them that list. We'd show them how many vaccinations their kids or grandkids were getting now versus then. And they said, give me the damn pen. So, this is the beginning of a movement that's going to be much bigger than this referendum and much bigger than this issue. You know, I have not used the word vaccination one time until now. Because this is not about vaccinations. This is about personal liberty. This is about parents' rights. This is about religious rights. And this is about a government coercing and intimidating you into compliance by holding your kids' educational future. You do not need a former politician or a recovering politician to tell you that's wrong. But you can do something about it. So I'm going to ask you tonight to do whatever is put on your heart, whether it's donate money to the GoFundMe, you can gather signatures, you can educate people. We have materials here. We have petitions, we have the business cards that make the argument, and of course we have a great website and a Facebook page where you can share information very easily with your friends. And I want you to know and understand something. When this many people put aside their differences, when they realize that government has divided us with all these different labels, like Republican, Democrat, etc. When I could be in a mosque last Saturday, be with the Nation of Islam 2 Saturdays ago, and then be at a Tea Party meeting or a church school conference, then they better watch out. Because we, the people, are united. And we are not going to allow them to harm our children. Because where there is a risk, there has to be a choice. And that choice can only be made by you on behalf of your children. So I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for standing up. Because it's not easy, especially when the propaganda is so strong, especially when they've censored the media and blacked out any dissent. But see, we are beginning a movement that is going to educate this country, and it's all starting right here in the state of California, but it won't end here. It will spread across this country, and we will prevail. And I want to thank you. God bless you and Godspeed.